good day. Welcome to my channel. So today I'll be discussing to you the while statements in Java. So within this topic, I'll be discussing to you the statement flowchart, syntax, scope, and how does while statement work. So we'll try to do some basic simulation on how these looping statements work. So let's start with the flowchart. So in any looping statements, we will start with the initialization, followed by the condition. Okay, and this condition is placed inside your while statement, and if this condition is evaluated true, the execution will proceed inside your while statement starting from your body. Okay, and then after that, proceed with your update expressions or your increment or decrement statements. Okay, and then we again evaluate the condition if it is still true. Okay, so while this condition is true, your looping statement will continue to loop within these three parts of your statement. Okay, and if the condition is evaluated false, the execution will proceed outside your looping statement. So the while statement syntax, so we always start with the initialization. Okay, so depending on the number of variables you'll be using. Okay, so you declare and then initialize those variables before the start of your while statement. Okay, so your while statement includes here the condition, and then inside these curly braces is your body and then your increment or decrement. Okay, and remember, the while statement is written in lowercase and does not have a semicolon. Okay, and then the body statements and update expressions are inside the curly braces. Well, in some cases, you can interchange, no? So you can start with you can automatically update your update expressions before the body, no? But that depends, no? That depends on the outcome you are trying to work out in your code. Okay, but most of the time the update expression is after the codes in your body, no? So these body statements could uh, be one to many statements depending on the requirement. So the scope for your while statements is defined within this, of course, curly braces. Now if you ask me, can we omit the curly braces like what we did in if statements on my earlier discussions? Well, for this case, you cannot omit these curly braces because inside your curly braces you need at least two statements, no? One statement is for your body and then one statement is for your update expressions. Now if you try to omit one of those statements, then you'll be lacking one element in the key components of your loop, no? And probably your looping statement will not be doing anything, no? Unless you're trying to do it in purpose, no? So for while statements, I think it is necessary for you to be including those curly braces. So how does while statement works? So we first declare our variables here and then initialize them. Okay, and then we place the while and then the parts of your or we have here one statement for your body and then one statement for our update expression. Okay, so you always know that the start of the execution would begin in your initialization. Okay, and that is followed by your condition, no? And then followed by the body. I repeat, no? For your body statements, you can include one up to many lines of codes, no? But you, of course, you need a minimum of one statement. Okay, and then followed by the increment in this part. For this example, we have here the increment, and after that the execution will proceed or go back to your condition. Okay, and as you can recall from our previous slide, so these are the three parts that your uh, compiler will be executing, no, while this statement is true. Okay, and if finally the expression is evaluated false, the execution will proceed outside the while statement. Okay, so using this code, we will now try to simulate the actual values and how the output is displayed. Okay, so let's try now to simulate the following codes. So in our simulation, for beginners, it is important to understand that the while, okay, while you iterate inside the while statement, the counter variable, okay, or your counter variables are constantly updated because of this statement. Okay, so definitely the value of this counter variable inside the condition will change as you iterate within the loop. Okay, so initially your counter is set to 0, right? Okay, so that's your initialization. After that, it is followed by the condition. So initially, if counter is equals to 0, so definitely if we will substitute that value in this condition, that would mean, or you would read it, is 0 less than 5. Okay, and yes, the answer is yes. Okay, so definitely the execution will proceed inside your while statement, or within these curly braces here within the scope. Okay, so the output for this statement is, of course, what is the value of your counter. Current value of your counter is 0, so definitely that's going to be the output. It will print that in your output, and after that we will now execute the increment will now be executed by your compiler. So if you will increment the counter, the its value will be incremented from 0 to 1. Okay, so after this, you all know that the execution will go back to your condition. Okay, so since the value of your counter is now 1, so your condition will look like this: is 1 less than 5? And the answer is yes. So if the answer is yes, we will again proceed with the body. We will print the value of the counter. So previously the output is 0, so we will only be adding 1 there. Okay, that since the current value of your counter is 1, and then the execution will go back to your statement. So we will now ask, okay, is 2 less than 5? Yes. Okay, if yes, we will print the value of the counter, which is 2, so the output will now be 0, 1, and 2, and then we will increment the counter, becomes 3, and then we'll go back to the condition. Now it's like, is 3 less than 5? And yes, the answer is yes, so we will print the output. So 0, 1, and then the new value here is 3. Okay, we're simply printing the value of the counter, and then increment the counter, becomes 4, and then we'll go back to the while or the condition. So it's like, 4 is 4 less than 5? Yes. If yes, print the current value of your counter, which is 4, so it will be added in the output. and then we will increment again the counter, so it becomes 5, then go back again to the condition, is 5 less than 5? Okay, so what is the answer? Is 5 less than 5? True or false? So false. Okay, so the execution will automatically proceed outside the um, while statement, and we all know that the final output will be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so duly take note, the last value of your counter is 5. Okay, because if it will not reach 5, then when will this condition be false? No, so always remember that in um, writing the condition, you must make sure that the loop will stop at some point. No, if you will not be successful in doing that, the output would look like a matrix. So it will continue to print these numbers because you never told it, you never told the while statement when to stop. So remember, we don't always start with 0. You can start with any number. Okay, for as long as, say for example, look at here, I started with 0, so the condition would look like this. So while counter is less than 5, because I started with 0. Say for example, I started with 5, then maybe you can put here while counter is greater than 0, or greater than 1, or greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so your initialization will be the basis of your condition. Okay, so this is the most important part here. And of course, no, if you started with a small number, so you would stop on a higher number, so you should increment the variable. If I started with 0 and I wanted to stop it at 4, but I decremented it instead of incrementing, then the output is still incorrect. Okay, so please do take note of those when writing codes using your while statement. So I think that's it. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please click like, subscribe, and hit the bell button. Thank you very much, and have a good day.